Hey guys, today we are going to talk about flooring. We're going to be going through the process of replacing the flooring in an RV. We're going to cover the types of flooring that we like to use. We're going to cover the types of flooring we don't like to use. We'll cover the tools, we'll cover the process, start to finish, everything you need to know about laying luxury vinyl plank in your RV. Let's get it. Okay, so first thing we're going to cover is the different types of flooring. As I mentioned, the main one we're going to cover today is luxury vinyl planks, but I'm also going to give you a little bit of tidbits on sheet vinyl, or sometimes it's called luxury sheet vinyl. We're going to cover carpet and we'll cover laminate. Those are the four common types of flooring that are in an RV. The first thing I want to cover is the luxury sheet vinyl. Sheet vinyl is nice because it has typically a cheaper cost. It's a lot lighter weight and it's all one piece, so you lay it all out. Now, the pros of that is that it's waterproof. If you spill on it, you can wipe it up really easily. It looks nice, it's consistent. The cons of that is it does tear. You can get holes in it quite easily, and you do have to, as I said, one of the pros was, one of the cons is also that you have to put it all down in one piece unless you're really good at seams and able to line them up really well. Due to this nature, the installation can be a little bit more difficult. You have to make a template or be really, really good with your measurements. We have done it, but we prefer the luxury vinyl plank for sure. Another option that we have pulled out of a lot of RVs, but we've never put back in, is carpet. Carpet is cheap, it covers a lot of stuff, and it's pretty durable. The nice thing about carpet is you can basically lay it over anything and it's going to work. It will work. The cons to carpet is that if you've ever pulled up carpet, you'll see and you don't know everything that's going on inside that carpet. It can be really dirty and you have no idea. And whereas we're talking about RVs here, having really dirty flooring and not knowing how dirty it is, we personally prefer to use something that we can see the dirt and be able to clean it up and take care of the mess. Now, when it comes to a laminate option, in our experience, the only fully waterproof laminate that we've been able to find comes in a much thicker option. This is then going to be heavier. It's going to restrict our limitations, or we have limitations because of our slide outs needing to go in and out. It's going to scratch, it's going to get torn up a whole lot easier. So in our experience, the laminate is less waterproof, less flexible. It's just not as good of a fit for an RV lifestyle. Now moving on to our favorite option, which is the luxury vinyl planks. We like those a lot more because of their durability. They have a much better wear layer. They come in all colors, shapes, sizes, everything that you could possibly think of. We absolutely love that they're 100% waterproof. They click together really nicely. They're easy to cut, trim, adjust, and just all around make work really well for the RV lifestyle. They also come in varying thicknesses, which is really nice because if you have a limited weight capability and or limited clearances with your slide outs, as mentioned before, these are a great option. They come as thin as 3 millimeters, which is super duper awesome when you're dealing with slide outs that have low clearances. So just to recap really quick, we love luxury vinyl planks and luxury sheet vinyl. We do not love carpet and we do not love laminate. Also, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, go ahead and do that. Hit the notification bell. That way you get notified whenever we have a new video that comes out. Also throw that thumbs up, give us the likes. We really appreciate it. It helps out our channel a whole lot, guys. All right, so the tools that we used for this project are a razor blade, a speed square, a tape measure, a rubber mallet, a pencil and or a marker, a tapping block, which we'll explain later, and then we used a miter saw to cut all of the pieces. That's it. Short list of tools. That's all you're gonna need to complete this project. All right, now it's time to measure for your flooring. You're gonna wanna measure your length, multiply it by your width, and add an extra 10% for drop, cut, start pieces, end pieces, all of the little things in between. As we mentioned before, if you have a weight restriction, so if you have a limited weight rating on your trailer, if it's a super light, if it's something along those lines, you're gonna wanna go with a thinner plank. That's gonna save you weight. Also, it's going to help with smaller clearances when you're working with slide outs and other things like that. Another factor that you need to consider is the plank size. This is going to be the width and the length. The ones in this renovation we used were 9" by 6 feet, really large planks, and we ended up having a fair amount of extra waste because of that. In other renovations, we've used a 4-inch by 2 foot or 4-inch by 3 foot plank. These help you to minimize the amount of drop because you can use more pieces to work around smaller spaces, tighter spaces, less cuts or more cuts, but you're able to use more of the material. So there's an advantage to larger planks. You're going to cover a lot more ground, but it may come at more of a cost because you're going to have more waste. Now it's time to start laying the flooring. But wait, first you've got to make sure that your floor is clean. Floor prep is key. If you've ever talked to a painter, prep work is key. When it comes to flooring, it's the exact same way. Make sure your floor is clean. We will sweep again, and just because, we'll sweep one more time. You cannot sweep enough. And then to take it one step further, grab that shop vac and suck everything up. It'll make it so much better down the road as you get through your process. If you're laying this flooring in an old RV, make sure that you've pulled all staples, all screws, all nails, make sure everything is flat. Any of these nails and staples that you don't find, they will be found later and it will make your flooring project much more difficult down the road. All right, now we're gonna get into laying the flooring. I know we promised that, so we're finally there. The first step in this process is you need to pick the longest side. You're gonna wanna line up along that edge. A couple of things to keep in mind. One, leave a 1/4 inch gap at the edge. This will come into play if you ever need to stretch and repair a piece of flooring in the middle of your floor. That 1/4 inch gap allows you that space to be able to spread the flooring apart and replace it. Next, I like to put the tongue edge towards the wall. This allows the next rows of flooring to click in much easier. Next, I like to check out my slides and determine what I'm working with on those. In this renovation, we have a very large section that overhangs the flooring. So to be able to click all of that in if I didn't start underneath there would be next to impossible. This specific slide out has over a foot that goes over the top of the flooring, so I had to start underneath there, as well as some rollers that I would have to cut around. So ultimately, just assess your situation and determine what's going to be the best place to start for you. So for the first row, you're going to start by attaching several pieces end to end, which span the length of the RV. After that, you're going to take and start an offset pattern on your second row and third row. The reason for this is that it gives much more strength to the flooring, as well as it just gives it a better look. It doesn't have just a consistent half full, half full, half full. If that's the style you would like to go with, that's fine too. These panels are designed to work in many different ways. You can have a 6-inch gap, you could have a 26-inch gap. It doesn't matter. They are gonna work no matter how you put the seams, as long as they are not lined up directly. So for my first 2 or 3 rows, I like to do the whole row at a time. So I'll do the first row, and then I'm gonna cut my last piece to length. What I'll do is I'll take my drop from that, and it should work perfectly as my starter piece for my next row. Then I'm gonna finish my second row, then I'll take my drop from that, start my third row. That should be different as well. So for our next end piece, we need a 52¼ inch piece. So I'm gonna pull my measurement off of the tongue side on both the front and the side that I'm pulling from. The reason being is that will then lock into the existing flooring. Then once I cut this off at the 52¼ my drop will be my starter for my next row. Okay, so here's my drop piece. What I was talking about before is now I can take the cut edge and I'm gonna start it right here in this corner. And that's gonna give me both of my grooved edges to continue my row this way, and then also be able to attach my next row right here. So staggering the seams in a random pattern is just gonna give it an overall better look. When it comes time to cutting your start pieces and your end pieces, it can be as simple as a razor blade. The reason we mentioned using a speed square is that gives you a nice straight line. It gives you something solid to cut against. I recommend doing 2 or 3 scores with a razor blade, and then the LVP should snap. Another option that we have used and is our preferred method is a miter saw. Not everybody has access to one of these, and so the razor blade and speed square is a much cheaper and a much quicker option if you would like to do all of your work right in the space that you are working. So if you have access to a miter saw, it's much faster, it gives you a nice clean cut. It does throw shavings, it's a little bit messier, but you can very easily complete this job with a razor blade and speed square to help you cut nice straight lines. So once your first row is down, you're gonna start with your second row by slightly lifting up the outside edge, inserting the tongue into the groove, and then if you put enough pressure, it should drop down to the ground, and that's all you're gonna need to do. This is where the tapping block comes into place. I like to use a piece of drop that still has the tongue attached to it, and I will cut it down to a much more manageable size. The reason I like the tongue is I can then insert it into the groove, tap on the back side of that piece with my hammer, and it doesn't damage my flooring that I'm going to be leaving on the ground. By having this tapping block, it allows me to close any remaining gap. Even though they may be small, you want to get these pieces nice and tight together. Next step is going to be to lay a new piece of flooring next to the first piece that you started with. This is going to be done the same way by inserting the tongue and then getting it close to the level that you need. And then I like to just slide it until it's touching the groove on the left-hand side of the piece that I'm attaching it to. I'm then going to lay that down and then lightly tap it with a rubber mallet. This is going to lock those end tabs into place and hold together very nicely. Once you have 3 rows together, your line should be very well locked in place. And at this point, it's just click, tap together, click, tap together, click, tap together. It's a very consistent process. You just go on and on and on. The one hiccup you run into in an RV is they put walls in there. They put pipes in there. They put all of these things that are going to get in your way. And unfortunately, that's one thing that you have to work with. This is where I mentioned earlier talking about the smaller planks and being better for this type of scenario. Because if you have a smaller plank, a lot of times you can rework your lines in order to not have to have as much waste or to not have to try and finagle a piece around a pipe that you don't want to cut. The biggest suggestion I can give when it comes to these items is just don't overthink it. Be confident in your measurements, measure twice, cut once is always an applicable practice in this situation. For me, the best tool to use for figuring out and marking around these items is a tape measure and a pencil. Your best option for pulling those measurements is off of the existing flooring and then transfer those measurements directly over to the piece that you need to cut around these items. This can be tricky when you have multiple different angles, directions, pipes, floor registers, all the different things that are going to come at you. They tend to find their way at you all in one piece. So take your time, don't overthink it. You may have a drop or two piece that you cut wrong. It happens to the best of us. So once you've gotten past all of those nasty corners and cuts and pipes and vents and floor registers, it's smooth sailing from there. You just cruise all the way to the end. And then you get to work on trimming it all out. Trimming it all out is the best part because 1, you know your flooring's done, but 2, it just gives it such a nice, clean, finished look. If you're working in a space where it already has a baseboard, you can add something like a quarter round or a shoe molding. A lot of these shoe molding and quarter rounds can be purchased color matched to the floor, or you can also color match them to your walls. The ones to the walls are probably going to be a much cheaper option because you can get a simple baseboard from your home improvement store and just simply paint it to match the color of your walls or your trim. But if you like the look of the flooring better, most have a suitable match to help trim out that way. In our renovations, we like to add baseboard at the end, so that is never a problem for us. We will get down to our 1/4 inch gap on the ends and then just add a simple, nice, clean piece of baseboard. It finishes off nicely, adds a nice little bit of character to the room. We really like doing it that way. Now, one of the most commonly asked questions when it comes to doing RV flooring is transition strips on your slide outs. These can be a pain. There are many different types of slide outs that require many different types of transition strips. We have found, as in this renovation, there's some simple stair nose molding that works really well for this, but this is a raised slide out, so it's easier to work with that. Another option for a raised slide out would be a outside corner molding, trimmed, something along those lines, which is just a squared off piece. It's going to give it a nice clean look. You can paint it to match the walls, you can paint it to match the floors, you can do a natural wood look if that's going to be what matches best. Another option that we have had to do in the past is we have purchased hardwood that matches the flooring and then manufactured our own. This can be a very time-consuming and tedious process, but if you need to go that route in order to complete your slide out trim, that is an option as well. Another type of transition strip that we've used in the past is a rubber transition strip. This just attaches to your slide out and slides in and out along the floor. When dealing with slide outs that drop down to the floor height, we have found that the sheet vinyl works better in this scenario. You just leave about 5 or 6 extra inches on there. The sheet vinyl is a much better option to cover that gap, and it helps camouflage the transition there much nicer. Ultimately, what type of transition strips you are going to need is going to depend on what type of slide out you have. There are many options out there, and again, if you have found a better option for transition strips, please put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you guys have found. We're always open to learning new ways to complete these projects. Upgrading your flooring is just one way that we recommend to upgrade your RV. We also have how-to videos on how to paint your RV cabinets and how to paint your RV walls. And if you want to take your RV renovation one step further, feel free to check out those videos. Ultimately, LVP, which we have shown you here, is only one option for your flooring needs. There are many other options, as we mentioned before, so it's going to come down to what you feel works best for your rig, your space, your weight capabilities, your time, and your budget. I hope that this video was informative for you. Again, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe, the like button if you haven't already, and throw your comments down below. We love the interaction. We love to get to talk to you guys and to learn more things moving forward. Thanks, guys.